Hey Jude on the sitar.
It's nice, isn't it?
That's really nice.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Paul Saltzman is here. His book is The Beatles in India, and it's just a phenomenal book and a fantastic story. Thank you. Look, the packaging itself is spectacular. This is gorgeous, and it comes in this box. It comes with music as well.
Comes with the music, 11 Beatles songs on sitar and other Indian instruments.
I love that.
That's originally done for this, and a DVD and the book. The deluxe is leather bound and Japanese silk. My wife and I did all this, and we just went to town.
Did you? Yeah, did you ever? It's just fantastic. So this story starts out in 1967. You go to India. You want to go just for an experience, and boy, did you get one when you got there. What happened?
Well, I actually went because I woke up one morning working for the National Film Board in Montreal and actually had a shocking thought, which was there were parts of myself that I didn't like, and I was a pretty 23-year-old. And I got to India and I worked on a film. That was how I paid my way over, and I got to Delhi after 6 weeks of filming on the road. And I got a letter from my girlfriend. I can only remember the first line, which was, "Dear Paul, I've moved in with Henry." And I was like, ah.
Wow.
And, you know, we all have usually one of those devastating heartbreaks, and that was mine. And somebody said, why don't you try meditation for the heartbreak? And I basically said, I'll try anything. So I went to the ashram, the Maharishi's ashram. I got to the front gate and I said, I've come to learn meditation. And the chap said, well, the ashram's closed because the Beatles and their wives are here, which is how I found, that was when I found out they were there. And it wasn't good news. I slept in a tent outside the gate for 8 days waiting to get in. The Beatles were an impediment for me learning meditation, hopefully to do something for the heartbreak. So after 8 days, they taught me meditation, took 5 minutes. I did a half-an-hour meditation. It was an absolute miracle. And then I hung out with them for a week and just sat around. So
you were allowed into the ashram at some point while the Beatles were still there?
Oh yeah, I spent a week just sitting around with them.
Just hanging out. So you come on in, you're a professional photographer? No, but you've got your camera.
Right.
And so you just start chit-chatting and they say, snap away.
Yeah, it was like George had a camera and Ringo had a camera and Mal, their roadie, had a camera. And after I knew them for a day, I said, do you mind if I take the odd pic? Go right ahead. The funny thing was I could have taken hundreds of photos because we were just sitting around. I took 54 photos. I just didn't think of it, actually. You know, we were just sitting, so there wasn't a thought. When I first met them, I walked over and I'd seen them in live here in Maple Leaf Gardens in '64. And as I walked over, I was like, noticed my heart beating faster. It was like, but it was like a surprise, right? And I got to the edge of the table and they were all sitting there with their wives, and Jane was with Paul, and Donovan was sitting there, and Mal, their roadie. And they realized somebody was standing by the table and they paused, and John looked up at me this far away and I said, may I join you? And he said, sure, mate, pull up a chair. Paul said, come and sit here, and pulled in a chair next to him. And then John turned to me and he said, so you're American then? And I said, no, Canadian. And he turned to the rest of the group and he said, ah, he's from one of the colonies.
Nice.
That wonderful humor.
Let's get some of those pictures up so we can, we're already running out of time. Of course, there's George Harrison, who I have to say I think is my fave.
He's kind of my favorite, too. It would be his 63rd birthday, day after tomorrow. What a tragedy. He was the man who impacted me the most. We sat together. He practiced sitar and said, you want to come along? And I went and sat with him, didn't even think of getting my camera. And afterwards we had a talk about life and meditation, and he said this one sentence that changed my life. Now, he was 24 and I was 24, and he said these exact words. He said, like, we're the Beatles after all, aren't we? We have all the money you could ever dream of. We have all the fame you could ever wish for, but it isn't love, it isn't health, it isn't peace inside, is it? And that stayed with me forever.
And that's the truth, absolutely.
Let's so he was a phenomenal man,
The song My Sweet Lord, forget it.
Oh, yeah.
I could listen to it
While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which is one of the ones on there.
Yeah.
Ringo was a sweetie, very funny man, very shy. And in the photos of him, you can see the shyness in the face. He actually asked for this photo, and my wife and I flew down to New York this past summer and spent an hour with him and gave him a copy of the picture. And I never thought of asking them for a photo when I was with them in India. I just didn't think of it. So this time I thought of it.
Good.
So there's a picture in the book of Ringo and I and presenting him with the photo.
We'll take a look at the next one.
Donovan. Donovan is an incredible poet, songwriter, a phenomenal man. We've become friends in the last 2-3 years, and we're going to do some stuff together. Just a marvelous human being.
And Mia Farrow, a picture of her, and people may or may not know that she was there with her sister Prudence, who
That's
ended
right.
up being immortalized in a song.
Dear Prudence. And Mia was just a very bright and very lovely young woman. I discovered in talking to her that she was there for the same reason I was. She was heartbroken after the marriage to Frank Sinatra.
Frank, of
and she had
course.
come to her in meditation for that reason.
Wow. Go to laleo.ca, which is Laleo. It's also a fantastic store down in the distillery. I love dropping by
They've
there.
got the book, and there's a photo exhibit of the photos on, including huge big mural shots.
Very good. So drop by there. TheBeatlesInIndia.com is also where you can go to buy the book.
Yep.
Okay.
You can get it at Laleo's, or you can get it at our website. And you can see it down at Laleo as well.
Right, and it's really obviously worth seeing. Paul Saltzman, The Beatles in India. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great stories. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.